What up, traders? What up, investors? We are looking at NAT. This is the Nordic American tankers. This is the stock that it kind of blew up, created a huge FOMO candle and a huge spike in volume, and that made the stock price run up to exactly $9 and then has been selling off ever since then. I made a video the evening after the $9 run saying that I'm going to be shorting it into 5 or a little bit before, underneath 5, and getting out before earnings. Everything that I've said basically kind of came true. I am very lucky in that sense, but this was due to me understanding, honestly, is that this was a complete FOMO trade for me. I was not understanding the oil tanker business. I didn't need to understand the oil tanker business. I didn't need to understand that. This was just clearly a FOMO stock with just a huge amount of run up, and everyone just on YouTube, Twitter, even on Reddit, everyone was pumping NAT, 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 even though they had a really strong quarter, basically earning 27 cents per share. That is an enormous amount more than the previous quarters that they've had, with revenue being up, I believe it was 86 million by the end of March, even though with the previous year it was 53. So we're talking about nearly a pretty increase in surplus. Again, these are just tankers. This was basically, a lot of people played this stock because of the shortage of storage, of land shortage for oil. There isn't a shortage for oil tankers. So oil tankers take things from point A to point B. But if oil is so flippin' cheap, what people do, and big companies and future markets for oil commodities, they will lease out a tanker, and each tanker can hold quite a substantial amount. I think it was like 1.2 to 2 million barrels of oil, depending on which size freighter you're looking at. That being said, the misunderstanding of what was going on with when oil went negative, that was a little blimp in the system of, yes, it kind of went through some, there wasn't enough red tape and not enough regulations to ever put that into effect. So that was like a once in a lifetime, because people always say once in a lifetime, and everyone in the world who's over 20 has lived through 3 or 4 once in a lifetime moments. But that being said, it was a shot across the bow, lack of a better words, on like, hey, this actually could happen. Oil futures just would need to be dumped to be able to go roll them to the next month. So the quarter was strong. It really was. They showed improvement in revenue. They increased the dividend quite substantially. But why the hell is the stock still down 3.58% today? I honestly believe, this is just my honest opinion. I'm looking at the stock here, give you a quick recap of what we talked about. So this is again due to the overall FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. This is again, I was trading this on the fact of that. That's being the most important indicator in this whole story, was the FOMO indication. When a stock was trading literally 2.5 months ago, $2.72, and it runs up to $9, there has to be some substantial reason for this to happen. And if you look at any of the history of how oil tanker stocks have worked, and I've traded these back in the past when these occurrences happen, normally to the short side, because everyone thinks they can make a quick buck. And I really apologize if I'm being really blunt and to the point here. Everyone just thinks that they can take their $3 and double it to, or triple it in that case, sometimes 10 times it, when the stock would run up to, a lot of people were projecting like $12, and just going way out there, just fishing for numbers, as I call it. So we had that little contango with the oil prices, with, again, the shortage was on land. There was no shortage within the oil tankers itself. There's plenty amount of storage in the oil tankers before, and there's been multiple articles, just Google it, from other oil tanker companies saying, hey, we have plenty of capacity. If people want to come aboard, come aboard. the reason I can charge these prices is because there's a lot more expenses, again, to get it from land to oil. To land to the sea. So it's not normally used, the oil tankers, for storage. They can be for a secondary reason, but land storage is the most common. That being said, let's go look at the charts here. So this kind of came on my radar when this happened right here. So these blue lines here in the back are volume, okay? You can see here we were trading very low volume, really spiked up, kind of got my attention. I saw a couple YouTube videos about it saying that it's going to the moon. It kind of went to the moon, but then it came crashing down. This, when you see a huge candle like this in volume that is, I don't even know, 30 times the average volume, we can look at on this chart here. It doesn't even give you perspective. You can't even see the volume here. You can barely see the volume here. We traded like 75 million shares that day, okay? And it peaked out at $9 and then made an aggressive downward gapping down. This is where I made the video saying I'm shorting NAT. I got a lot of flack for it, but that's what happens sometimes. Some haters out there, but that's okay. That's fine. Just cut them. Just stick to your guns, Ken. I said. So it gapped down, closing below the 5. So if everyone knows how I trade, the 5 and 8 are still the momentum side of things. So it continued gapping lower, a couple green days, but it didn't really go anywhere. Once I saw this parabolic SAR flip in, that's when I doubled down and I ran this down to basically hit my target at $5. I got out of it about 90% of it, and then let the rest of it run, cutting it right before earnings, maybe last week Wednesday or something like that. That being said, that's exactly what I was trading. After the fact of that, I don't know where it can go. I think the FOMO side of it is out of it. I don't want to play earnings announcements because those can be a complete coin flip. So if you watch the channel, I always say I do not have a crystal ball and I don't like to play coin flip games or gamble. I knew I was keeping this on a very short leash. I was wanting this to come down to at least to the 21 exponential moving average, which is this yellow line here. All the people who kind of commented saying, oh, charting is silly, it's dumb, it's pointless, that's fine. Okay, you can think that. But that being said, this is more an art form than a scientific notation in the sense of if this happens, then this, and that. It's not an if statement. It's more like a maybe kind of statement. I'm really just rambling here. I apologize if I'm ranting. I just really wanted to make this video to kind of educate folks on what the trade was, because it wasn't, I didn't care on how many barrels of oil were pumped out or anything like that. This was a clear FOMO trade, and this happens in the market all the time, these FOMO trades, especially with the stocks that are below $2 or $3. People think they can just dump it $1,000 and just double it overnight. That being said, it continued coming down. We got out of it. Earnings came out this morning, on Monday morning, early Monday morning. They did very well, like we said. We looked at the numbers, but it's still down nearly 3.5%. Again, this could be just people getting out of it. I don't know. The volume is not as high as it has been even this previous times, but are people holding it to try to get that 14 cents dividend? That's quite substantial, even though we saw this 7 cents dividend here, but we did see some sell-off from there point on. Potentially, again, I want to give you the bull case, and then I want to give you the bear case. The bull case, which again is going to be the positive, or if you're long this stock, since the 8 just barely crossed to the 21, in my book, that's doesn't mean it's going to be complete negative, but it's some downward momentum. Same with the parabolic SAR, is still printing lower. So you can kind of see basically my lines here. The going back to the bull case, it has to break and close above the 21, and the 8 and 5 need to start curling back up through the 21, potentially closing and above the $5.10 level to regain basically a holding pattern. And if we want it to break above that, we need to see it break above 530, 540, 550 here, basically this really tight zone here, to potentially see it. We need the parabolic SIR to come back. We need momentum to kick up. The volume oscillator down here has been kind of just nay. So this is why I'm kind of keeping this. I'm not in it again. I've been out of it. But I'm just looking at this as just a learning experience from this point on. Potentially the bear case, if it breaks the basically $4.68, give or take a penny or so. If it breaks that with the moving average start pointing south, the parabolic SAR, the purple little dots up here, continue to stay on top of the tickers, of the ticks, and then this basically the 34 exponential moving average is not going to be able to hold it up. We could see some further downside, potentially seeing again if it breaks 450, 460, we could be seeing it basically to 425 or even down to 375, depending on, it could trade down there really fast like it has here, and just touched it and came right back. So that being said, just be very mindful out there, be very careful, keep this on a super short leash if you're trading it either way. Again, I do apologize if I kind of came off kind of douchey or ranty. I just wanted to prove my point here and kind of the stuff that I do here for my trading style, and kind of give you some insights to that and not look at just spreadsheets. And that's totally fine. Like, spreadsheets are important. Like, you saw me looking at the revenue numbers and comparing that to kind of give you some insight. So if revenue has been basically double from last year, it sold off last year around this time, even though it had really strong revenue. So the way oil tanker stocks trade is they're very, very much in a cyclical play. So they're in like a cycle, okay? You can see here, NAT used to be a $56 stock, okay? It came crashing down, and then it traded in a range pretty tight, came crashing down. Now it's trading in a range, came crashing down. Trading in a range, potentially crashing down even more. I don't know. This is what my intuition's telling me, with the chart as well. It looks like it's been breaking above the 200 exponential moving average on the weekly chart. But again, if it once this parabolic SAR on the weekly chart switches over to the top and it breaks this 200 exponential moving average on the weekly chart, we could be seeing some further downside again to the $4 or the 375. So that being said, I hope everyone didn't take that too rough, and I hope this doesn't come off as a "I told you so" smear campaign. But I just wanted to let everyone know, the followers, my folks that join my live streams every Sundays and things like that, on this is how we look at the charts and how we look at companies. Yes, we add the fundamental aspects to things, but that's 25 to 30% of things, and majority of it is just the charts itself. Well, I think that's going to be it. We do have a wonderful Discord here. Hopefully it loads up here. So it's going to be a link in the description. You can join a free Discord. We talk about different charts, we talk stocks, we talk some stock news, we have some memes, all wonderful things. And if you want to take your membership or your support for the KB, basically the dyslexic investor, to the next level, we have a Patreon page as well down in the descriptions. If you can take a look at that, if you want to look at some exclusive watch lists that I show, some videos, you get upgraded in the Discord chat, all that fun stuff, and it really helps support the channel and grow educating folks on investing and trading. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.